We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you another episode of We Can Help with Dave and Woody, already in progress.
It is. It's recording.
Well, we're in progress.
I can't find the time though. What time is it?
Hey, 48.
Thank you.
Oh boy, 48, 50.
So wait a second. If we get too far, you're telling me you bought $50,000 worth of Winn-Dixie stock?
Why do you lead with that?
I should have gone with Circuit City.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Kmart? You bought 50,000 shares at Kmart?
It was a deal. Did I tell you my Fruit of the Loom story? Oh, wait a minute. I hold in my hand the last Yingling lager of the 6-pack anyway.
Yeah, for this week.
I don't know
for tonight.
I don't know how long it's been in the fridge. Is there
it never comes through.
Well, it doesn't pop.
Listen, if you're driving down the road, listen to podcast, press your ear against your speaker.
It doesn't pop.
And see if you can hear. It's been sitting in the fridge so long.
Well, it's got a head on it. See?
Yeah. Look at that.
All right, let's get going. So, yeah, I don't know what was so funny about the Winn-Dixie joke, but anyway, okay.
Well, we got to because there's obviously a bankrupt. I was trying to think of one that was going bankrupt, but
I had a Fruit of the Loom story. So
yeah, go ahead with that.
I don't know how many years ago, guys, a long time ago, but Fruit of the Loom was they weren't doing well. They were still manufactured here in the United States. They were getting killed by the Chinese. You know, everyone's off. They were offshoring all their manufacturing, and they just were getting beat up. People weren't buying Fruit of the Loom underwear anymore. I think
because of the cost.
Well, yeah, I think Walmart quit buying them, and so they just kept going down and down and down. And I'm like, geez, I got to buy this stock. It's Fruit of the Loom. And so it became a penny stock. So I ended up buying about 3,000 shares of it. And I go, I can't lose. There's no way I can lose. Well,
that's what everybody says.
So, I mean, 3,000 was probably like
everybody needs underwear.
$500 worth of stock, right? Because it was a penny stock.
Right.
Well, our buddy Warren Buffett shorted it and ran it into the ground. And then
he doesn't typically short stuff, but
I don't know what he did, but he ended up owning basically Fruit of the Loom. And what he did is he bought the brand.
Okay.
The manufacturing part of it was dead. He said, I just want to own the brand. And 6 months later, the bastard turned around and rebranded it and went off to China, I think, and did a deal. And now Fruit of the Loom's back and he owns it. Berkshire Hathaway owns it.
Oh, so he bought the stock. He bought all the stock is what he did.
He cornered the market and basically bought the company that was worthless other than whatever the value of the brand.
Right. So you got your penny back essentially, or did he drive it to zero?
They closed up.
Oh.
He grabbed it, closed it down. He owned it. It went belly up.
I guess as was it Class A stockholder, right? You're last to get paid on debts. If there's anything left, then you get that money, right?
Right.
So, which there never is after legal fees and debt, you're paying back the bondholders and all that stuff. So,
yeah. So whatever he paid, he got the name Fruit of the Loom out of it, and then he came back. Hang on a second. Let's just see.
I own Berkshire Hathaway.
Don't we all? Alexa, does Berkshire Hathaway own Fruit of the Loom?
From Wikipedia.org. In April 2002, Berkshire acquired Fruit of the Loom for $835 million in cash.
All right. There you go.
Alexa, volume 10. So I guess
I was able to hear her. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Well, that segues into a question I have for you on our on the front of our dedication or dedicating segments we do from time to time on here to help our young listeners out in the world.
Sure.
When and how much should a newly minted employee start saving, and how much?
Like a first job employee?
Yeah, like you're finally pulling a salary, or you have some liquid cash in
Oh,
your life.
versus investing or just whatever. Okay, I know the
When
answer.
should you start investing, and how much?
Okay, so imagine, if you will, we'll have to do a whiteboard next time, but a pyramid. It's always, I always thought it was good to do this with my customers to go, oh, you're drawing a pyramid? Wait a minute, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, and so what we do is we get you in at the top, and
Yeah,
then
and you never lose. You're always winning, always winning. Just remember that, always winning,
if your
always winning.
investor starts with a pyramid concept, get out.
Fire that guy. Maybe a triangle is a better way of saying it.
There you go.
So what we're trying to do is build a firm foundation, right? So you want to get started with emergency. I don't know. You just blanked out. You're gone. There you are. Hey, he's back. Emergency savings. So if you're a single person, you want 3 to 6 months worth of monthly fixed costs like rent, power, car payment, utilities, figure whatever that is. And you need 3 to 6 months of that put aside in what we call emergency cash fund. It's not a future cruise fund. It's
And where do
emergency
you keep that, in a savings
savings.
account?
Yeah,
Okay.
it doesn't make any money.
Something very liquid, right? That
Yeah,
you can
you
move,
could put it in a
move the
money
cash
market at your
quickly.
credit. Yeah, money
Yeah,
market
okay.
or just a savings account. And the
Yeah.
idea is God forbid you get fired, right? Or you
Mhm.
lose your job. Then you've got 3 to 6 months to find another job. If you're married, you need 6 months. And that is because your spouse hopefully may be working, but you still need 6 months worth of time to turn around and find a job. If you're in business, self-employed, I always told my people you need 6 months to a year,
Wow.
because you could run yourself into a cycle like 2009 where
Mhm.
things go poopyville, and you need a longer period of time for this cycle to run out. So that's the first one. It's always tough with young new workers because they start making some money, and the first thing they're thinking about is, oh, I want to invest. I want to invest.
That
And
wasn't
so,
my first thought. Okay. I'll tell you. So the reason I bring this question up is, I had been employed for 5, 6 years or so, and I was with my roommate, Rick, and my checkbook happened to be sitting out one day, and he saw the balance on my checkbook, and he goes, "Why do you have that much cash in your checking account?" I'm like, "Well, what else am I supposed to do with it?" He's like, "What are you, an idiot?" And so and I started my venture in investing at age, I was probably 26, 27 by the time I bought my first mutual fund. But go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt,
oh
but that's it.
no,
That's
so you
I
want
had
two
no
things
clue.
though. You want to buy some term life insurance. If you're married, especially, you want to buy at least. This is First of all, these answers don't fit everybody.
Right.
I'd want to sit down with you, but an easy number, a simple, quick, easy number is 10 times your salary. So let's say you're making $50,000, then you want to get $500,000 of term life insurance. And that way, the thing is, when you're single and you're in good health, you hadn't started smoking and drinking a lot, yet, then your insurance is going to be pennies. It'll be like $10 or $19 or whatever it is a month. And then you can what we call store or warehouse insurance, and they'll write you 10 years at your salary, because eventually you'll get married, and God forbid something happened to you. You want to have that money for your spouse. And there's other things you can do with life insurance, not just die, but you can do some things investment wise. So then those are if you're single. If you're married, of course, it's the same 3 to 6 months um, savings. Then the next thing, while you're employed, you want to go ahead and start, if they have an 401k, then you want to max out your 401k contribution because it's free money. Most of the time they'll give you,
They
up,
match to some degree.
they'll match something, and that's free money.
That is the best investment I've ever done in my life, is the 401k. The company I was with for 20 years did 100% matching,
Yeah.
up to 6% of my salary vested immediately. So
It's free money.
yes, I was making a dollar for dollar for years in that
So the
company.
thing you want to think about with a 401k is that the free money. But the philosophy is we don't want to pay as much taxes. And so the 401k allows us to dumb down our taxable income. Meaning, so let's say we make $60,000 a year and we contribute 6%. So we're putting, what's that,
Should have done 60,000 a year. And
36%, $3,600, whatever. So whatever you're putting in dumbs down your gross income. And when I say dumbs down, it means it lowers the potential what you'd have to pay taxes on. And so it's a twofold thing. You're getting less taxable income exposure, which means you're paying out less in taxes. You're getting growth at tax-free, tax-deferred growth, I should say, inside the 401k, and you're getting free money from your employer if there's a matching program. So you want to start that as soon as possible, and whatever that maximum contribution is.
so save up roughly 6 months in liquid cash in some sort of I just said liquid.
Savings
then get some
money market.
All right, then you want to look at term life insurance, and then you want to look at 401k options or whatever. What's the government one? If you're in government, isn't there a different one?
Yeah.
Okay, or pension or something, whatever your company is offering.
The life insurance and the savings you should get the life insurance. Most of your employers will have a $50,000 life insurance policy. That'll
and you can add to it pretty cheap on the cheap as well.
I would own it. I would get it myself.
All right.
Oh, that's a good start.
Yeah.
Then after that, it's $125 an hour to Dave. We'll talk about that later.
There's a little button in the bottom of your screen right now. If you want.
No, I'll talk to anybody.
Don't you have to give your disclaimer now?
I just did.
Oh, did you?
No, I love talking about that stuff.
So yeah, so that was and that's why it dawned on me as a subject, because it wasn't my first thought, and I look back and think about how much more money I would have, because I roughly started 10 years too late. Now, luckily, my wife had a very savvy. Her mother was a big investor and had her investing almost from day one. Leaving high school even. And so she's very good at it. It's tough for me. I'm so cheap. It's tough for me to pay myself because there's no instance. I feel like I'm throwing it away, kind of, right? That it's going off. It's not visible unless you're, in your portfolio every single day, which you do at the beginning, but then you realize that does you no good unless you're into day, or like you trying to time a market or something like that. Then you want to be in there regularly. But I'm long haul for the most part. Even at this age, I'm still not too concerned about things. So,
well, there's always the bourbon. You can see that on the shelf.
Yes.
I'm not throwing stones, by the way. That and those $7, almost $8 cigars. Yeah.
Yeah. And how long's the cigar last you?
3 hours.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
One cigar.
Yeah.
What are you buying that the one you used to get at the gift store at the roadside gift store that's like
when you
the
see
size of your forearm?
When you see me post on Twitter, it's Saturday's Double Corona Saturday. That's easily a 3-hour cigar.
Wow.
The ones I smoke pretty regularly are 2-hour cigars. If I just drag on it, I could probably knock it out in 30 minutes, but that's not the purpose of what I want to do. Right. So usually it's 2 to 3 hours.
Okay. Hey, I do have some follow-up to do. One of the YouTube channels I watch is a gentleman called Alex Steele, and by no coincidence, but it's his real name, but he dabbles in steel. He does a lot of work in steel and different metals. I'd say he's a smith, in large part. And so one of the things he's trying to do is fuse different metals together, particularly titanium. And what he does is before he fuses them in the ram, thing that slams down, he blows in argon, which is an inert gas. And he said And, it's because, it won't cause any kind of rust or byproduct, whereas oxygen will. And he goes, and I like to call that ERT.
No.
Instead of NERT, he said ERT. So, that's there.
That's nice.
You'd have to go back and listen to an episode or two for Dave's and NERT.
Well, it's funny. I told Charlie, I see Charlie every morning, the fellow that I told you about.
Right.
And I told him, I said, hey, I tried that NERT thing and no laughs. He goes, I said, well, there's only two of us working in the room. But he goes, well, that's too bad. I thought it was pretty funny. I said, yeah, I did too.
That's why I told it. Yeah. So
Well,
yeah, I thought when I heard that the other day, and I thought that would be interesting.
I do have a house. I do have a. We'll go back to it later, a little later on. But I want to revisit the headline because you did some stuff during the conversation that I thought was funny. I listened to it again. We'll go back to that in just a couple
about
minutes.
the airplane,
Yeah,
the
the
person
airline.
dying on the airplane. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I have a couple other things I want to expand on that. But
do you have anything else you want to hit at the moment?
well, we do have some listener update that we haven't done in a long time. Is that something we do now?
Sure. We're getting up on episode 92 tonight, right?
Yeah, we're at 91 episodes in the can, as they say in the biz. And so I was just thinking, and maybe Woody and I in the pre-show, that 100 episodes is coming up, and we can do the math in roughly 9 episodes. And so we don't want to get too far into the planning stage, but we should do something, maybe a party or something. We'll talk about that. So
yeah, we'll do a huge gathering with all our listeners. Maybe we meet at the Waffle House down at the corner. I don't know. Something like that.
I want party hats and noisemakers, though.
Oh,
That's what I was thinking.
I don't know if that's in our budget. Wait a second. Yes, it is in the budget.
Okay, good. So I wanted to go online real quick. It turns out that we are huge in the USA as far as listenership, believe it or not.
Well, I would hope so.
And second is Mexico.
What?
Yeah, we're big in Mexico, and then of course the UK. So I think the UK is maybe one of our staff members. You think?
Since we do the dedication bits, I think word is spreading in the UK.
Is she in Luton?
No, she's in London.
Well, Luton's part of London, but
she is out. She works near Chinatown, and geez, the name escapes me. Kind of a hoity-toity area, but
Soho?
No, not that. Greenwich. Yeah.
She's over there by the boat.
Which boat?
Where we keep Greenwich Means Time is over there, and that's where the is it the Cutty Sark? I think the Cutty Sark's over there.
I don't know. So
that's where a girlfriend, Claire Harms. Look
Claire,
up Claire.
If you're listening.
Yeah, Claire Harms lived in Greenwich. She wasn't my girlfriend. She was my buddy Doug's girlfriend. And her mother and father lived in Greenwich. We went there quite often for dinner. It was a nice little part of town. Okay.
So back to your point. So Mexico, is it a border town?
I don't know. Brownsville. I don't know.
Just says Mexico.
Yeah. It seems like they're on the move all the time. So I don't know who's listening. But anyway, so
that's all.
So it turns out the state of California is coming in big time in McKinleyville, Pilot Hill, and Sacramento.
I know the McKinleyville crowd well, and I'll be traveling there later this year for a 2-wedding weekend.
Well, I thought we'd do a little flashback to try something out here. Hang on a second.
All right.
So, Alexa, what is the travel tourism slogan for Pilot Hill, California?
From skiff.com. The tourism rebrand is a response to a drop in consumer sentiment, especially domestically, toward its previous brand platform, Dream Big, which played off California's image as the destination where anything is possible, a Visit California spokesperson said.
Wow, that was a very long-winded answer to say Dream Big. She could have gone with just Dream Big.
I think what they were saying is it didn't work, so they had to rebrand it.
Well, what was the first one, though?
I don't know. We suck. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay,
that was Massachusetts, I think.
State of Florida is in second place with Jacksonville, Middleburg, Orlando, Palm Coast. Yeah, I know who that is. and Fort Lauderdale. Alexa,
You know,
what is
Palmco, I did. Oh,
what
it took
is
me
the
a second to
travel
remember.
tourism slogan for Fort Lauderdale?
From prnewswire.com. The Greater Fort Lauderdale Convention and Visitors Bureau today announced its new brand as Visit Lauderdale with the destination tagline Everyone Under the Sun, reflecting the diversity and welcoming nature of the Greater Fort Lauderdale region.
What are
Okay.
the odds that we ask her on the day they announced it?
Well, I think she's realizing the power and the reach of We Can Help with Dave and Woody. Okay, so number 3 is Nevada. How do you say it? How do we say that again? Nevada or Nevada? No.
Nevada.
What's the other way of saying it?
I don't know of another way, Dave. Are you dreaming
Nevada.
something?
Nevada. All right. Anyway, Las Vegas, and we all know who that is.
I'm not saying it because
It's JoJo.
I know that, but I thought
I'm
you were
just
going to
leave
go
it
with
at that.
his full name.
Hey, Alexa, what is the travel tourism slogan for Las Vegas?
What happens in Vegas stays
From
in Vegas.
theweek.com. Las Vegas, what happens here, stays here slogan is one of the more famous taglines in modern tourism marketing and one of the most quoted, talked about, and recognized ad campaigns in any industry.
So why did you even ask me, Dave?
Because it's better than
It's
Pilot
what she's.
Hill.
It's essentially what she just said to you. She said, "Are you that big a dumbass you didn't know the
Well, it could be.
slogan for Vegas?"
Shut up, North Carolina. So number 4 is North Carolina, Matthews, Charlotte, and Concord. So Woody puts the car in drive and just circles the block.
Concord. Yeah, I don't know why Concord comes up. That's odd. It's probably wherever the internet
Well, we're
feed
gonna
is.
get one for each. So here we go. Alexa, what is the travel tourism slogan for Concord, North Carolina?
From choicehotels.com. Concord, North Carolina, offers the thrills of auto racing at the Charlotte Motor Speedway and a chance to unwind at tranquil Frank Lisk Park.
What? I've been
Tranquil.
to Frank Lisk Park. We used to have our company picnics there. Is it
tranquil?
Well, yeah, because it's in the middle of nowhere, but in the sense that that's something you should advertise for your whole city. No, it's just a big grassy expanse. A couple
All right,
picnic
coming in at
tables.
number 5 is, how do you say Massachusetts?
Massive two shits.
And that's Chelmsford. Alexa, the travel tourism slogan for Chelmsford, Massachusetts.
I don't have an answer for that.
How about Brad's?
That's a strange slogan. I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, we're gonna keep going here.
Come
Number
to Chelmsford.
6.
We don't have an answer.
Number 6, Tejas, Little Elm, Texas. Alexa, what is the travel tourism slogan for Little Elm, Texas?
From texas.gov. By inviting people to discover Little Elm, the town highlights its unwavering commitment to celebrating its vibrant business community and natural beauty.
Tells me nothing about the place.
Yeah, I know. So I was just about to say, I'm trying to figure out where Little Elm, Texas
Okay,
is.
we're not gonna. The next one, number 7, is New York, the Bronx.
That's a strange one there.
Yeah, number 8.
Okay, it's outside Dallas area. Little Elm is. So
okay, number 8 is Beaverton, Oregon.
yeah, it is.
Alexa, what is the travel tourism slogan for Beaverton, Oregon?
From OregonLive.com. Beaverton has the best of Oregon, says a brand new city slogan.
What? So they're just basically saying, rest of Oregon, you suck.
Yeah,
this
because
is the best
Beaverton's
of everything.
number 1.
Yeah, whatever you got, we do it better.
That's
in
right.
Beaverton. All right.
All right, number 9, Columbus, Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah, we're not doing Columbus. They suck. All right, and number 10, bringing up the rear at Wisconsin, Stevens Point. Alexa, what is the travel tourism slogan for Stevens Point, Wisconsin?
From issue.com. Stevens Point Tourism calls the area a recreational playground, full of fun things to do whether you're on water or land.
Well, there you go.
And I'm looking up where Stevens Point is.
We got the cheese.
Yeah. Oh, it's near Junction City and Plover. And
all right. Well, to all of our
it's
new
outside
listeners,
St. Paul. It's pretty good ways outside St. Paul. So whoever you are out there, thank you for listening.
Yeah, to all of our new listeners that we brought up, 10 states, and we're on a we're on a climb. Woody.
Yeah. So if
We've
you
got
could
some-
tell your friends and family and even people you hate, to give us a listen, like, subscribe on YouTube, whatever you got, it would be greatly appreciated. And you will be an inaugural member of you can say, when we're up at the Kennedy Center receiving our honors, you'll be you can say, hey, I listened to them when they were just in their infancy. Say. So you
Who's
got
the
that going
dreamer
for
of
you.
this group? I don't know.
What's that?
Nothing. All right. You got something? Kind of bouncing around a little bit
I was
tonight.
just going to follow, kind of on that same note that we're growing. You remember how we used to get the Chumba Casino ads quite regularly, and I still get one every once in a while when I listen to her podcast. But I've been listening. I forgot all about him since he left television, but I've been listening. Daniel Tosh. Are you
Yeah.
familiar with him?
He's kind of made around again.
Yeah, he's a UCF grad for those
Yeah.
listening. And I think he was never a Sigma Chi by any means, but my understanding is that's kind of the crowd he hung with at the time. And maybe we'll reach out to him and ask him that one day, or maybe it was another fraternity, who knows. But had he hung out with Sigma Chi at UCF, he would have had a great time for sure.
I'm sure he would have.
But I've been listening to his podcast, and he's number 47 in comedy podcasts now in the world. And I got a Chumba Casino ad on his podcast. So
Oh,
how
really?
bad is it? Yeah. How bad could it possibly be for us? We're now bringing some of the same. I mean, he's getting our secondary advertising, essentially. We've already been through it.
Well, they are definitely getting more sophisticated, the ads. So there's not a lot of what do you call those public announcements roles?
PSAs.
PSAs. Yeah, we're getting the real stuff now. People are paying big money. Of course, we're not
Big.
seeing any of it, but they're paying somebody big money. Anyway, all right. So I did want to go back. We had some headline stuff, not really headlines, but I really don't care about Travis Kelce. I don't know if you follow that. or
Why
not, the
did
guy
you
from-
bring that up as a story
Well,
at the
it was
beginning?
just
Why was it interesting to you?
Well, he's got a podcast and he's
Well,
in
yeah,
love with what's her face. I
Taylor
don't know.
Swift.
Yeah, Taylor Swift.
Well,
And then
supposedly they are. Who knows?
well,
right?
and Taylor Swift, you were trying to get me connected with Taylor Swift at
That's
one time,
right.
and we missed a couple connections. She flew in, I flew out.
You missed your chance.
Yeah, so that didn't work out. So I guess Kelsey's.
Well, that
with
was
her.
my plan to get us listeners and see how it worked for him. Now his podcast is huge.
Yeah.
So he
I guess.
obviously got wind of my strategy and
He probably
stole
said,
it.
"Yeah, I was listening to Woody and Dave the other day, and yeah." Anyway, so
they had a great idea.
he's going to come back next year for the Chiefs, and
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah, and they're dismantling that team, so this will be a great time for you to come back there, Travis, so you can lose again. But whatever.
How say you dismantling? I mean, getting rid of. I think they want to change out their offensive line. Is what they're trying to do.
I don't know.
Right?
They're made some trades. They've
obviously the Eagles exposed their weakness, which was their offensive line.
Yeah, but the Eagles just traded their big quarterback, I think. No, it was an article that was teased. It was like it made the headline sound like they got rid of Hurts, but it was someone else. But
okay, yeah, they did.
All
It was
right.
clickbait.
The next thing in the news is Casey Anthony. Remember Casey Anthony?
Yeah, she was in your neck of the woods, right?
Yeah, down in Central Florida.
You ran in the same circles as her, right?
I wouldn't say run.
We shouldn't make fun of her circumstances then. Well, not her circumstances, her child's
Her child's
circumstances.
circumstances. That's not
Yes.
a laughing matter. Poor thing.
Not at all. So, I mean, it was never proven, but yes, it by all means, it
neither
certainly
was OJ,
appears.
and we all know
Right.
that,
Right. He was
anyway,
guilty.
At least Norm Macdonald figured it out. But anyway, so Casey shows up on Twitter the other day, and I don't know what she's doing. I just glimpsed through it, and then I decided to read the comments, and they're like, "Isn't she the girl that killed her daughter?" Or all this crazy stuff went off. So I don't think she's going to make a big splash.
You sure it was her? I mean, did anybody verify it was her or anything along, or did someone
it was
just?
her.
Okay.
She had marking tattoos that I remember. Anyway, so So Casey, good luck with that thing. And then the other thing I wanted to
I'm
talk
not going to
about.
even put that as a hashtag on our
No, please
podcast
don't.
this week.
Please don't.
Yeah, it's not worthy of that.
The other thing I wanted to revisit last week, and we shouldn't have done this at the very end because nobody listens to the very end of the show, right? So we ran this story about a headline that I'd seen this couple flying from Australia to their dream vacation in Venice, Italy, that got waylaid because a woman died on the plane, and so they tried to revive her or to save her. Didn't work, and so this couple was forced the last 4 hours of the flight to sit next to this dead corpse. And
Which
so,
I find odd that one of the rule you went over the rules of this, right?
yeah, I guess the regulations out of this federal, some aviation group that tells you what to do.
Right.
What was
And
the odd part?
The odd part was that you put them in a body bag, except for the head.
Yeah, I couldn't get my head around that, so to speak.
But you,
The only thing I could think of was a way that you could do a head count, as you're going through the airplane.
you got any more head puns you want to throw in there?
But you would think the body bag would be a clear giveaway that, oh yeah, that's Sally over there in A5. But I thought,
as a joke, I'd take it off her and put it on me, and they'd come by and go, What?
Well, the thing that I stepped on because we were laughing and rolling so hard that when the rule came down that you put them in the body bag and then you secure them with a seatbelt, and you were keen to the fact that because God forbid you hit turbulence, the last thing you want is this cadaver floating around in the cabin bouncing off the ceiling, which made me tickled, to say the least. But then the other thing I thought was kind of funny, you always see these you're flying or you see memes or something, and there's always a guy that falls asleep on your shoulder,
Oh, yeah.
So what have you positioned there next to some guy who's asleep on the plane, right? He's got the big donut neck collar. Maybe he's had a few belts in first class, right? He's passed out. And you set her up there in the front seat, and he wakes up to this on the flight home. Oh my gosh.
You'd have to put a camera on it to get the reaction. Everybody starts, the whole plane erupts in laughter over someone dead, leaning up against someone sleeping. Gotcha.
And just as a disclaimer, Woody and I both have discussed that we have this odd DNA mess that if something's morbid or sad
or upsetting,
that we try to find the humor in it. It's really our own way of dealing with the humor.
Yeah, it's the way I deal with it, and unfortunately that only works around. I have to really check myself, especially in and around mixed company, and I don't know. I always wait for someone to make the first move, and then I'll go in.
Well, apparently not everybody appreciates it, is what you're saying.
Oh, let's hope our listeners do. So
yeah. Anyway, so that's pretty much what I had to bring to the table this week, that I wanted to revisit that and then talk about our new listeners and how, we haven't checked that in a while. We purposely have not checked it because we didn't want to live and die by the listeners. We just want to be true to our craft. We were just wondering
where the large checks were coming from. We get those big, joke checks, the ones they hand out at tournaments and stuff. That's how we get ours. They're comically large.
Heavy on the joke. Yeah. All right. Well, is there an interesting weather report going on in your neck of the woods? It's been kind of weird today.
No. I guess some very strong winds and rain came through in the morning, but it's been relatively quiet for the most part. A few limbs here and there, but nothing, like, oh my gosh, that happened. But you know what we did talk about? I went to the hockey game.
Oh yeah.
Well, I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out. Did you?
Was it? Yeah. I get it.
That's an old Sandy joke. It was the Hurricanes versus the Calgary Flames.
Is this? I don't know. I know
Carolina Hurricanes. They used to be the Hartford Whalers, and then they moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, and became the Carolina Hurricanes.
Which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, that coast of North Carolina does get hit with hurricanes.
Okay, so hold on. Is this big boy league?
Yes, NHL.
Because we have a team here called the Icemen.
Yeah, and we have a team in Charlotte called the Checkers that are part of the, I think, the American Hockey League, which is
Yeah.
basically a feeder system into the NHL.
Yeah, it's the minor leagues, right?
Yeah, if you will. So yeah, that was just something we wanted to do. Evan goes to NC State, which the stadium's basically near campus. It's next to the football stadium, and so we kept saying, "We'll go, we'll go, go." So Barb took it upon himself to pick some tickets to go, and so we went.
Yeah, it's a good night out. We've done
it's expensive though.
Yeah.
We were third row from the top, and it was still $100 a ticket, man, up there.
Geeks.
Yeah,
It wasn't. Did it ever fill up? It looked like it had.
Yeah, it was full. Yeah, that was early. They were just out there doing their warm-ups before when I sent that picture. So that's why it was fairly empty. But the stadium was full. We actually had a very good time. Their mascot is a pig. Yeah.
Hurricanes,
exactly.
pigs. I see it. I see the connection.
Well, there's a lot of pig farming on the west coast of North Carolina. In fact, when a hurricane does come through, it typically floods out there, and lots of pigs float by.
Hold on. So, what is the name of the team?
Carolina Hurricanes.
Alexa, what is the mascot for the Carolina Hurricanes hockey team?
The Carolina Hurricanes team mascot is Stormy and Caroline.
Okay. Alexa, what are the mascots for the Carolina Hurricanes hockey team?
The Carolina Hurricanes team mascot is Stormy and Caroline.
She's holding to that.
All right. So we're in this upper section, probably in terms of football, probably end zone, in line with the end zone, right?
Yeah,
kind of down at end. And so Stormy comes out, unbeknownst to us, Stormy comes out of the walkway into this upper deck section area, and there's probably a few thousand people up there, and she has like a tambourine, but without the cymbals. I don't know what you call that, like a
drum head, but
drum head basically.
Yeah,
and
Tom-tom.
Out of nowhere starts hitting it in rhythmic form, and just about 3 sections of people duck because it sounds like gunshots. What you think gunshots would sound like. And you hear people going, "Holy shit," like that. And my son's like, "Stormy should not be doing that in a crowded auditorium." So it was it threw us all for a loop when I'm in my head, I'm like, do you think they know that's what people think? Because I wouldn't think you'd knowingly do that. I think he was just trying to get the crowd, razzed up. Ended up being an overtime game, and they have different overtime rules now. I don't know when they started. It's been a long time since I've watched an overtime NHL regular season game. So, but they now, normally, was it the goalie and 6 people or 5 people? I can't remember.
It's soccer on ice. I don't know.
Yeah, and they go 3-on-3 in overtime for 5 minutes. It's weird, but anyhow, Carolina ended up winning in dramatic fashion in overtime. So it was we had a really good time. I would recommend it should you get the chance to go.
I think first of all, anytime you can be out with family, in a setting where you get to have a little fun together, that's always good. But the hockey thing, it's interesting. When I lived abroad, when I traveled that year, I ended up in Stockholm, I believe. I think it was Stockholm. Or no, it was in Finland. Where's Stockholm? Is that Finland? Sweden. Yeah. No, it was in Finland somewhere. I don't know where we were, but we ended up going to a hockey match, and I said, "Look, we're here. Let's go check this out." And so, apparently, in Scandinavia, hockey's a pretty big thing, like around November, December. And so,
you don't say.
Yeah, who would have thought? So the stadium that we said, just give us the cheapest seats, and it's literally called standing room only. And so you get into the stadium, and it's the end zone, kind of behind the goal.
Yeah.
And it's these bar, like when you go to Disney World and they rifle you through
Yeah, the
the
line.
line, but it's these steel like leaning rails, and then there's a cage all around us that's like over the ceiling and the walls. And I'm like looking at my buddy Doug. I'm like, this is not feel good.
And there's a
And
guy
so,
behind you with a electric rod pushing you in. Come on.
well, it's where all the drunks are. And so you get in there, and before the match starts, suddenly there's like 3,000 people jammed into this place, and
Can't
everyone's
move.
loaded drunk, and they're throwing beer cans, and that's why the
They
cage
used
is
to
up
have
there.
that at soccer stadiums, the
Oh,
hooligans,
I
remember?
was like, how do we get out of here live? So that was my first experience to real hockey in Finland, I think it was, and we didn't go back to that.
That'd be
But
fun and interesting evening as long as you survive. Yeah.
oh God, it was mayhem to say the least. But our little team that we have, the Jacksonville Icemen, I think the mascot's a wolf or something.
I
don't
hope
know.
you guys didn't pay a lot of money for that nickname.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
They went into the board meeting. So what do we call these guys who play a sport on ice?
Ice. Well, they're
Any
men.
ideas? Any ideas? Dave's in the corner. How about Iceman? Dave, we got a winner. There's no way we're gonna top that.
Well, you know what? We could ask our post-production specialist if she
Yes.
finds a picture of Carolina and the pig.
Oh, okay. Add the pig.
Yeah,
All right.
she'll figure that out. Anyway, well, that sounds fun. So that was a family affair of sorts. We haven't done much this past weekend. What did I do? I was smoking cigar. Oh, I do have a fun cigar story.
We only got 3 minutes.
Okay, so I go to this place called Tobacco Cove, and Saturday, I don't get to do it all the time, but Saturday I have deemed double Corona Saturday. And so I shoot a picture of it, and on Twitter I post it, and I tag the cigar I smoke is owned by a conglomerate called Ashton Cigars. And they own a whole bunch of cigar manufacturers, of which mine is La Roma de Cuba. Anyway, so I post a picture of it. I tag Ashton Cigars, La Roma de Cuba, and the Tobacco Cove. Well, I'm 2 for 2. Ashton reposted it. They shared it onto their site. And I'm like, wow,
Getting
social
some credit. Why don't you
media.
slip in a little hashtag we can help with Dave and Woody?
Ooh, yeah. So when they share it,
Right.
yeah, I'm seeing I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Yeah.
All
You
right,
seem
we'll
like
try that
he's
next time.
yeah, a little cross promotion.
Yeah,
They'll probably
okay.
they'll probably repost it and take that off.
They'll have all their fact checkers and researchers.
Do you plan on going this Saturday?
I don't know. It's a
I
hall
was gonna
pass for
say
me.
we should all look for Dave's double Corona post and see if it gets reposted or not. So
Yeah.
be
So
on
you
the
can check
lookout.
that on X at Dave and Woody Pod, which is a great transition because we're going to Spaces.
Yeah.
Join us over to Spaces for the after party. And when we say after party,
It is after.
yeah. All right.
All right.
You got
I had a
anything else?
guest. I had a listener ask me what Spaces was, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" No context to the question. Just what Spaces? I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh yeah.
So this was one of our listeners, I guess.
yes.
Okay, hold on before we dump out of here. Let's
So
just make
Spaces is like a communal conference call that we host on X/Twitter, normally on Wednesday evenings, between 7:30 and 8. But it'll post on there. If you follow us on there, you'll get a little invitation that says we've started. So if you want to come in, talk to us, ask questions,
we'll be live.
we'll be there live.
Of course, right now you can't hear this till next week, but yeah, that's the idea. All right, so what time are we gonna do Spaces? You gotta get a shower or something tonight, you said.
Yeah, it's shower night this
So
month.
I gotta go to the bathroom because I had a beer. You want to
So
give me
7:40.
Okay, I'll go fast. All right. Well, listen,
fast. You got 8 minutes.
Well, I have to sit down when I pee. Then it takes a while to get back up.
I could make another joke, but I won't.
I'm trying to work one in there, but don't do it. So listen, you've listened to yet another complicated episode. What is this one? It's not tittillating.
Whatever
Informative.
you should look up
Informative episode.
adjectives before we get to the show.
Yeah, that'd be good. Informative episode of We Can Help with Dave and Woody. By all means, subscribe to us on YouTube by mashing the subscription button, and listen to us on Spotify, Spreaker,
All the majors.
iHeartRadio, and Podcast Addict. And
Yeah.
that's it, right?
Wherever
Guard
you get
well.
your podcasts.
Guard well, friends, and we'll see you next week. Peace out.